All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebonie again, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style. And today we have Miss Donna with us. How are you, Donna?
Hello. Hi. I'm good.
Thank you
It's
so much for
cold.
taking time. I appreciate you taking time today on this cold, chilly day to talk to me.
And thank you for inviting me.
All of you, Donna is a very busy lady, and she has children that she takes care of, and she is just as overwhelmed as some of us are. So I really do appreciate her taking time. And for those of you that stick around to the end, you'll have an opportunity to earn a complimentary gift as a form of appreciation. So stick around and let's see what Miss Donna wants to share with us today. So Donna, can you start us off just so we get to know a little bit about you and share one motivational quote that really inspires you, something that encourages you and gets you going?
Okay. So I'll start a little bit about me. And I'll start with my professional background or my background period. So I have a mixture of pretty much everything. I love working out in the community. I was born and partially raised in Sierra Leone, and I moved to the US when I was 10. And I've always been working out in the community. I have a master's in public health, so I've been concentrating working in community health. I have one daughter who is 4 years old, and I'm slowly transitioning into this motherhood lifestyle because I'm still new. I'm still learning all the phases it comes with. But to get back to your question about a motivational quote, I would say for me is just to always stay true to yourself and never let anything or anyone distract you from your goal. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the quote that I saw wasn't said exactly in that form, but that's one thing I always kept in mind.
Yeah, and I think that is so key because people tend to expect you to act how they would act, and that's not always in line with your goals. So I think that when you can identify who you are as an individual and then you just stay focused on who you are and what you do, you're going to be more fulfilled than trying to please this person. And everybody actually has a different way of doing things. So you'll go crazy
Oh yeah.
if you
Oh
don't
yeah.
stay true to who you are. I strongly believe that as well. Sometimes that can be a little easier said than done, particularly if you're working in a corporate setting that doesn't really allow for a lot of, authenticity and being who you are. So I do understand that. But I think that in a lot of personal situations, the closer that you stick to who you are as an individual, the more fulfilled you'll be. And
Yeah, definitely.
we all know that, at times that, different things can happen too. So can you talk a little bit about a time in your life where maybe you wanted to stick to who you were? You had a goal in mind, you had a vision or a dream in mind, and you wanted things to be done a certain way, but you didn't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you kept having challenges arise and unforeseen circumstances arise, but you were able to, at the end of the day, bring that goal or that dream to fruition. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. So I will say that's pretty much my life. But to be a little more specific, I would say when I was in college, or I'll say when I was a teenager, I had this dream of exactly how my life's going to be, how much money I'm going to make, what's going to happen at a certain age, what kind of industry I'm going to be working in, what kind of husband I'm going to have. Like, I think a lot of little girls have those dreams. But as life goes on, and during my college days, like undergrad days, I start realizing that the world is not set up exactly in that way. And it took a lot out of me, but it was a moment of changing your mindset. So it was just changing my mindset and just accepting life as it goes. And I also believe that what God has for you is for you. So even if I have something planned, I'm saying, oh, when I turn 22, I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be working here. And if it doesn't happen that way, I guess you find a good in everything. I've kind of just accepted things, and I would just say, okay, well, I guess whatever God has in store for me is a lot bigger than what I have in store for myself. So I'm just going to accept this challenge as it is. Now, it sounds easier said than done. It's a lot of fake it till you make it kind of thing. So it took a lot of convincing myself and just reminding myself, one, every no, it takes you closer to your yes. Every experience, it makes you stronger to be who you are supposed to be. And just realizing that life doesn't really necessarily has a roadmap, and we just have to accept it as it comes. So that's one thing I've kind of used as my foundation to go through a lot of things. And even now in my career, I'm not where I want to be. And I'm not going to say it's not frustrating. It can get really, really frustrating. But then I also look back to see where I've came from and all the positive changes that I've made in my life, and look at other things and realize, yes, I'm not where I want to be, but at the same time, I've been growing. And sometimes we get lost in that thinking because we are so focused in looking ahead of us to say, oh, this is what I want and this is what I want to do. And we forget to look back and realize there's a lot of good things also that's been happening. You also have to be grateful for the little things that's been happening, and not just focus on where you want to be. And honestly, what if you get to where you want to be and then decide that, oh, I didn't think it's as great anymore. So that's one thing with me. And it's not a particular example. It's just a bunch of examples put together of how I'm able to deal with things in life and be able to accept my circumstances.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned that sometimes it's important to accept your circumstances, because once you get that thing that you thought that you wanted, it's not as great as you thought it was going to be. And I think that sometimes when we're so focused on the future and then the future happens, we forget about how much pleasure we could have had in that moment 2 months ago because we were so focused on the future. So I think being able to just sit and rest in the moment is very key for us to find that sense of fulfillment that sometimes we're looking for. They're so focused on 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What about today? You know?
Yes.
And in the meantime, also looking back on some of the achievements and celebrating our successes so that we see that none of what we did previously was to waste. So I love that you brought that up. I know that, you know, for some people, they look at their successes and they look at their dreams as something that they may have done all by themselves. Maybe they feel like they didn't have any support, when in all actuality, everybody has a little bit of support from somewhere. They just don't necessarily recognize it as support. Can you talk a little bit about how people can gain support if they're feeling like nobody is in their corner to help support them?
Okay. I will say, just like you said, there's always some kind of support, and it might not be in the form that we're looking for, or the direction we are looking for it to come from. But there's always some kind of support. Sometimes the negativity is a support, and meaning it's the reason why you didn't go left. You decide to go right because you just said, oh no, I'm not gonna, I don't want that to happen to me, or I don't want this kind of stuff. So there was some kind of, I guess, not in a positive way. You might not look at it in a positive way, but later on in life you might. But I would say for me, in my career, again, when I said I'm not where I want to be, it's not that I'm okay, but it's just when you have dreams and you have goals. And for me, I didn't have a lot of support from family and friends when it comes to showing me the ropes and a lot of things.
And sometimes they might not even know how to.
Yeah, so not because they
What
didn't want to, but a lot of them, they didn't know how. And
right.
again, I moved here when I was 10 and I came with my family. So they were also figuring things out themselves. So it's not like my home country where they can say, oh, go here, let me call this person, let me do this. No, I had to figure it out. So even something simple as my FAFSA to go to college, I had to Google what do I need in order for me to go to college, go to a counseling, trying to figure out all the steps that need to be taken. But again, that comes to determination. And it goes right back to my quote where I say you got to stay true to yourself and don't let anyone distract you from your goals. Is if you're so focused in, oh, my mom wasn't there to help me, or my aunt wasn't there to do this and this for me, it distracts you from your goal. So for me, I will say, again, I don't have a lot of support, but one thing that keeps me going is because I know where I'm headed. I know I have a lot of potential in myself, which makes me sometimes angry because I know I can do it. But then sometime again, I have to find a way to fake it or fake my fears for me to just say, you can do it. You can do it. You have to be your own cheerleader. You can't always rely on someone to always just be there for you to either show you the ropes or say, oh yeah, you did a good job, because sometimes no one's ever going to tell you, oh, you're doing great. But you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I did great. And that's something I've learned to do over the years, especially now that I'm a mom, where I'm teaching her to be her own cheerleader, to be her own push, to be her own motivation, because every one of us have a purpose in life, but only you know that. So example, I know there's something that I need to do before I exit this earth. I just know. I know there's something that God has placed inside of me. Now, do I know what it is? No. I know I'm on the right path, and I think that's why I get frustrated, because I can't figure it out. And I'm always, I know I can do better. I know I can do this, but why is it taking me all different angles? And then when I finally get to a certain destination, all the different angles make sense. Why? Because again, you have to learn certain steps in order for you to be able to deal with certain problems when you get to that particular destination. So I've learned to overcome me not having support or not even looking for support. So me having some kind of support now is just an extra cookie for me. It's just like, oh, someone else noticed, but I don't look for it because I give myself the pat on the back.
Yes, and talk a little bit about the relationship between taking care of yourself and being able to support yourself, because sometimes you might feel like, I would, do XYZ if I had more energy and vitality to do so. So talk a little bit about the relationship between self-care and actually putting your gifts out there.
Okay, so I'm in the middle of figuring that right now. So self-care is very, very important, especially with mental health being such a huge issue and being out in the open. And at least now more people are able to talk about it. Now, as a mom and a woman, a professional, like that has a professional career, it can be really tough dealing with both. Because when you get out of work, you can't just come home and relax. Your second job kicks in, and the little ones, they don't care. You have to be 100% on mom mode. But you also have to take care of yourself. So I wake up at 4:45 in the morning, and one thing I do is just to make sure I go to the gym, and that's one thing that I do for myself before I get home, because once I get home, it starts. Lunch packing, get ready for school, drop you off at school, go to work, after work, go pick you up from school, and it just goes on and on from there on. So for me, and also it's for me after I've worked so hard, and me realizing sometimes to say, okay, your mind and your brain is on another level, and I don't care what it is you need to do, you need to stop. Relax, let it go. It's okay. I know you have goals. You had 10 things on your agenda you want to do today, but you can't. And that's okay. So it's just giving yourself the okay to just say the house gonna be dirty. The list is not gonna get done. The kid might walk around with crust all over their nose, and that's okay, because then tomorrow you can get up and be rejuvenated and just say, okay, fine, I can pick up where I left off. It's just being okay to stop, relax, take a step back, because you're not doing yourself any good to just keep going and taking care of anyone else.
Yeah, and you are actually in my Facebook group. And for those of you that are listening, remember at the beginning I said that if you listen to the end, you would have an opportunity to earn a complimentary gift. And one of the things that I provide to the ladies in there is an assessment, 2 different types of assessments actually. One that teaches them a little bit more about their true personality type so they can use that and infuse that into the things that they love to do. And another is specifically related to self-awareness and you making sure that you're feeling well. So talk a little bit about some self-care strategies that you've done in the past. We all do different things. Somebody might go to the gym for 2 hours, somebody might color, somebody might garden, somebody might go take a walk. You know, it looks different for everybody. But talk a little bit about some self-care strategies that you've put into place. And do you do any of these along with your friends and family members, or is it normally just you solo?
It depends. That's a good question. It depends on the day. It depends on the season. So I have a check. I have a list of things in my head that I do randomly to make sure self-care. Sometimes if it's in the summer, it's just watching my daughter play in the park. And I can just sit there and she just play. Sometimes it is taking a walk. And sometimes it's taking myself to the movie and a spa date. And that's something I do every year, actually, especially on my birthday. I know on your birthday, you're supposed to have everyone around and just have an amazing time. While me, I'm just like, leave me alone. No, I don't want to go out with you. I'll make my own reservation and I'll go out with myself. I'll take myself out on a spa date. And I also can sometimes take myself in a movie. We were raised, my sister and I were raised to be okay with doing things with yourself that I don't necessarily, not that I don't need people. I shouldn't say that because I do have amazing friends. And it's just, I can do it if it's necessary. So again, that's another type of self-care, but it depends on what it is that I'm going through that week. And if I need self-care, well, I will kind of go through like a sorted in my head to see what exactly do I need right now. Is it just going back to the gym and just clear my brain? Sometimes it's just coming home and just going to sleep. So it depends. There are different ways, at least I cope with things and just self-care. And it's not just one box fits all for me. Again, it just depends on what it is.
Yeah, and it could change from week to week, and it doesn't always have to involve money.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to involve literally a manicure and a pedicure.
No,
Someone
not at all.
Someone mentioned the other day that her form of self-care is sometimes just looking at the walls because at her job.
See, if that works. That works. That works. And reading a book. I love going to the library. So sometimes I will go to the library and check out a book and come home. Another thing I should mention this is I don't have the time to always read a full book. So I will go to Audible and download a book. And while driving, I will just listen to it. And sometimes I'm parked right in front of my house listening to the book. And that's self-care because when I come in, life starts.
Yeah, and over the next few months, we'll be sharing some different strategies and give some different suggestions that don't involve money in my Nutrition for Busy Women group. And you'll see that link in the description box. So I invite you to join us so that you can learn some of those stress reduction techniques. What would you want to share with ladies before we end that you feel like they could be encouraged by?
I think one thing I would like to share will be take care of yourself. Look within yourself, find a power within yourself, because we are stronger than we think. And sometimes we feel like you are breaking, but just realize, look back and just say, I've been through certain things and I was able to get through it. And just looking inside yourself to find that energy, that motivation, and don't always look to someone, meaning a human being. You can look up to God, but to look to someone to give you happiness, find happiness within yourself.
Thank you. And all your contact info is going to be in this description box as well. And Donna is very open to collaborating with others, and she loves forming bonds with people that are positive and driven people. So if you want to collaborate with her, make sure you check her out at the link in the comments as well. And if you also want to share your experiences, reach out to me and we will have an opportunity available so that you can talk to ladies and just let them know some of your challenges, some of your successes, some of your failures, and encourage them. Any very last words of encouragement before we go? Anything that we missed that you want to put out there?
No, I think I hit it all.
All right.
But if anyone have any questions later, I will be more than happy to answer or to just chat.
All right. So Donna, thank you so much. I appreciate you. She's going to get back to taking care of her babies, as she talked about earlier today.
Thank you.
For those of you that are listening, if you feel like anything that she shared today is of value, share it out to your friends and family. And I would love for you to participate in our next series. And for anybody out there that feels like you are all alone, you can listen to any of our previous episodes, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to find someone that can connect with you. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate you. And wherever you are in the world, always remember to live a life full of meaning and purpose. Have an awesome rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What?